Good morning. Give me a second to find the video. I'm going to be talking about Egypt today. Mainly the fall of it, what's going on with it. Hang on one sec, I'm going to put a note on my Reiki wall too. So give me a second. Give me a moment. Good morning. I'm ready for the storm. So I'm going to talk about Egypt in like 1 second. I'm going to get started. I'm still trying to give it to my friends real quick. We have too many chats. I can't even find the real ones. Oh, I found one. Good morning. I'm putting a note on my wall to say I'm live here. I want to talk about Egypt because I had some funny stuff that I was kind of putting on the comments, and I thought I'd get on here and do a video about it. I want to talk about the fall of Egypt and why we're also drawn to it a little bit. So give me 1 sec. I'm still posting this feed. I put it on my Yellow page too. People don't know where to find me. Hopefully. I like to hide out in my own little areas, so then people are like, well, I haven't seen you live in months. Okay, good morning. I'm about to get started. I want to talk a little bit about Egypt because I'm just throwing some random stuff all over the wall, which is good for me. Which is good. I see some awesome Egypt posts coming up. I was really glad about that. So I want to talk a little bit about Egypt. I am not a historian. I'll just start there. I am not a historian. I had zero interest in school a lot of the time because I could just tell that they didn't know what they were talking about. It wasn't something I was getting into, like history in school. But you know what? They just kind of uncovered Egypt not that long ago if we look at the history of humanity. But I want to talk a little bit about, I do know a little bit about religion, where it came from in a lot of senses. So I want to talk a little bit about, go back to Egyptian times, which goes back to Atlantis. So they have these mystery schools in Egypt, and I'm figuring out why, because I'm going back to the mystery school class space just to hide out from everyone, because I'm seeing why maybe they would prefer to keep these teachings secret, right? There's a lot of occult stuff around here that's kept secret, right? Knowledge hidden. We see that a lot with the Masonics. So I'm going to be a little bit all over the place because it's a broad subject, but we see that too, where they say that they took, I say they stole and plundered, that they took a lot of Atlantean knowledge. They said they were safekeeping it, but we all know really, like the Queen, right? They just plundered the planet. I think the Crusades. They went and took a lot of this stuff. Okay, let's go back to Egypt. If you start there, I'm reading some stuff online. I was just on Google trying to find some fun memes for my group, right? I'm not looking at pictures, I'm looking at the graphics, and I'm looking at some memes. And, you know, there's a lot of debate about where Egyptian stuff came from. A lot of people say it came from Africa. A lot of people have a lot of, you know, beliefs about it coming out of Sumeria and things like that. I think we'll start with Atlantis for this lesson. And like I said, I'm not a historian. I'm more into spiritual record keeping, things that could assist us now. I'll back up a little. I am only interested in these topics that I talk about on my videos because they pertain to me and my life here. I have been having very spiritual experiences since I was a little kid. I was a little kid that was like seeing dead people, and people didn't know how to deal with it. You know, when I was born and when I came onto this planet, that was kind of a new thing. Now we have star seeds awake everywhere. It's not such a rare thing, right? But, you know, back then people didn't really know how to deal with the spiritual around them in a lot of senses. So I have already been on this quest my entire life. My quest first took me to schools. I thought that you could learn that way, right? I thought you could go to college, that matrix, that you could go to college and you could learn and stuff like that. I bought into that scheme. So I was searching in a lot of books and school type places for a little while. Then I ran away and went across the world to the pyramids and lived in Israel. And I was on this quest, I think you could say, right? This quest I'm still on. Getting back to source, getting back to myself, right? In so many ways. So I'm very drawn to these past places in the context of what are we all doing right here now? What are these lessons trying to show us? We know that history repeats itself. The problem was they buried our history. Yes, they rewrote it in the way that they wanted to present it. I'm just going to start by saying what I learned about Egypt in school was probably about Jews and slaves in the pyramids and from the Bible. There was actually no evidence that they had slaves in Egypt. This was a fourth-dimensional place of consciousness, one where people understood their spiritual purpose here, one where they were glad to work as a way to be of service. They understood very adept concepts. So you can see that a lot of this, history that people are looking at as a historical record will come from the Bible. They look at it as a historical, accurate record. All right, so Egypt is huge on symbolism. There was a fall. It happens all the time. Pole shift, cycle ends. Let's start all over. Happens all the time. Something happened, the fall of Atlantis, and humanity got a reset. The planet got a reset on extreme levels, most of it anyway. But it doesn't matter. We are unity consciousness. It doesn't matter what I'm doing over here and what you're doing. We form this one consciousness. This earth has a single frequency. So we're having a big effect on everything here as we're learning and finding out. So the consciousness level of humanity fell all the way to reset, like caveman kind of status. Like all the way from ground zero, tribal places, building their way up. Egypt was a important point in history for the people that survived Atlantis that were teachers. And it was very important because humanity had just reached a level of spiritual awareness to be able to understand the spiritual and to be taught in a lot of ways. A lot of the masters from Atlantis went to Tibet. They went to Machu Picchu. They went to Egypt. They went to these places and started these mystery schools so that they could teach people. And what would happen was they would teach one person and that person would go teach other people, right? They started these mystery schools and hidden mystery schools, very occult-like. Now, Egypt was a beautiful place, but they had a lot of gods in the beginning. I don't know, thousands, I would guess. I googled it. It said like 2,000, I think. I don't know, though. But I was just guessing probably, I was guessing at least a couple hundred. So I'm not sure. They had a lot of gods. You can see I'm going to be posting them on the wall because I think that they're very pertain to our ascension now in a lot of ways. So, they had tons of gods. Now, these were meant to be representations of spiritual paths. You could follow Isis and follow her and do what she does and ascend. Or maybe if you didn't resonate with her, you could pick Ra. If you liked Thoth, go ahead, follow his story and his path and act like him, right? These were meant to be like pathways to show people how to do the spiritual in a lot of ways, right? Stories. So it was very confusing to people though at this point. Try teaching Ascension. I bet you'll get it fast. Imagine having thousands of gods and trying to teach Ascension. It was very, very confusing. So I'm going to be saying his name wrong. But that was when the Pharaoh, sorry, I just put it all over the wall too. I'm going to have to Google it to see his name anyway. Always remember. Law of One, right? Hold on, let me get his name. I always forget it. I'll fuck up his name the whole time too, right? So I can say it right. Akhenaten. I'll say it wrong the whole time if I don't get it right once. So then came Akhenaten. He was a pharaoh. They believed that the pharaohs were incarnations of God. They were looked upon in very spiritual ways. At this point in time, there were many gods, many temples that had been constructed, right? We had if you want to go worship Ra, go to his temple. They have all these huge structures that have been implemented. The pyramids were there prior to Egypt's time. They were already there on the ley line. Same with Stonehenge and a lot of these other places. Those were built during Atlantean times. So I know it's cute that everyone thinks slaves built the pyramids and all this stuff. I believe that they were already on these ley line structures already. Pyramids are powerful for healing. Pyramids. It doesn't matter if it's the one in my room right here, the pyramids of Giza, the little pyramid I just got in the mail, right, the organite. It doesn't matter. They do something with the electrical field of the earth. They remove any negative energy, negative ions. Those pyramids were powerful in trying to raise the people who lived there's consciousness level and in terms of healing them. The frequencies have changed on this planet a lot since then, so they're not actually functional in the same way that they would have been back then. Stonehenge, I would say, is. So then comes along the Pharaoh, who I'll say his name wrong, Akhenaten. You guys might feel a resonance to him. You guys might see like his statue and be drawn to it, or you know, be like kind of pulled to him if you see art of him or whatever. He was one of the first people to be channeling the Law of One since Atlantis. And I don't mean the fucking channeled from the 80s bullshit book, okay? We'll just go there. I mean the actual Law of One that was galactically brought to this planet, teaching people that we're from one source. We're from one source. If you hurt another, you're hurting yourself. How to level up spiritually in a lot of regards. He was a messenger of the Law of One. And he did powerful things. He got rid of all the gods. He made a new god. I'm gonna say his name wrong too. Amon Ra, I believe. Anom, Anon Ra, I'll probably say their names wrong. He just implemented a one god system. That was bad for the churches and the temples, the priests. You know, there were people that were conductors of the spiritual between, you know, there's supposed to be gateways like us between heaven and earth, channels, people that you would go to for healing in these temple structures, and they were making a lot of money off of it. And it was very bad for the priests to shut down and teach people that you don't have to go to church to find source. So I don't know when, because I'm not a historian. They killed him, but it said his kid took over being pharaoh at 10 years old, so he probably didn't even last 10 years. I figure maybe 15. They killed him, and the churches took over. The churches and the government took over and continued their corrupt ways, and it got worse and worse. And then we saw the Romans come and wipe out Egypt and everything that had to do with it, and they rewrote the history of it in so many ways in their Bible and with their systems and stuff like that. So a lot of Egypt was just uncovered not that long ago, within the past couple hundred years, and suddenly people were very interested in this civilization. Now, I went and saw the Sumerian tablets. I don't care about that place, but I do about Egypt because I was there. So I know that a lot of people might be drawn to different places, but this is important for us in what we're doing here. I say it is when trying to teach the Law of One goes terribly wrong. And they come up with a one god that has enslaved humanity this whole cycle, their vengeful god, and who will judge you. And it was taken off a lot of these stories in so many ways. And then I said, and then you have to reincarnate into this place the whole cycle and be enslaved by that god. When teaching goes terribly wrong, like terribly wrong, you know what I mean, on so many levels. It was no different than what's trying to be taught now. So it really has a lot to do with what we're trying to do here and trying to correct things with our abilities on a lot of levels. History tends to repeat itself. So that history is buried. Who knows? You can't read it. You can't tell what's true and what's not. It's so long ago. But, you know, there's a lot of history on this island I'm finding. And a lot of that history has been preserved because we're real proud of it. And I just watch. I've been getting a history lesson on the UK with their monarchy bullshit and all the wars they had and all the blood on this island. It's mind-blowing. And so much of it was over religion. We're talking about the churches now with someone the other day. And I said that there was a time when the church and the Pope could tell the Queen what to do. That they would say, this is the law of God. I'm speaking for God. And in a lot of ways, religion became more powerful than even government. If you can even believe that. Where they will have this final word on anything. They could boss around the Queen on so many levels too. Good morning. We're talking past places. I just thought I'd get on here and say hi. I wasn't feeling like going live anyway. I thought I'd just say hi and we could talk about some stuff that I'm downloading on in my free time here. I'm just hanging out and downloading Egypt stuff and chilling. I just cleaned my house really good. I saged. I opened up the doors and windows because my husband was sick. Gabrielle gave me some magic to do last night. I lit a white candle with the water and prayed to his guides and my guides and everyone and asked them to remove any illness into the water. Dumped it off the property, expert level like a ninja. That didn't look shady. So I was trying to do some magic. My husband's not feeling good. Francisco isn't feeling good. I'm noticing half the planet isn't feeling quite itself. So, you know, these are signs we're making collective timeline jumps on so many levels. And we really are seeing the bottom end of these control dramas and how it feels to feel powerless on so many levels. We've all felt that at one point or another, going through this in the past, going through this journey and feeling like we can't do a lot against the government and blah, blah, blah. And this really is the collective karma that we had to come pay off for these past times in a lot of ways. I think it's interesting. I put a Cleopatra post up, things I'm going to look into more. I find this interesting. I don't know anything about that time period. Like I say, mine goes back to maybe the Law of One days. I don't know. I don't know a lot about that time period. But I find it interesting that that underwater exhibit that we saw that had everything from Egypt there, it was, they say on their website, accordingly, that it must have been from, I guess they claim Cleopatra was the last pharaoh, I'm not sure on that, and something happened, the Romans, I'm sure, and all that stuff was underwater, and they say that because the statue found was hers, that would have been statues up when she would have been reigning from that collection. I found it really interesting too. So the Egyptians enslaved their people. Yeah, not slaves like building the pyramids. Enslave them and indoctrinate them with religion and government. Same as here. Just look around if you don't believe me. It's the same situation. So we start there. We start there. Let's enslave humanity with these systems, you know, power, control dramas, and we've ended up here. It has evolved to this place right here where everyone's so miserable and doesn't like it. So we've learned, hopefully, from Atlantis and Egypt that we should be waking everyone up and trying to help and heal with our abilities instead of using them for control drama type purposes, service of self kind of purposes. I don't know, I gotta go find this meme I put on my page too. I'm gonna tell Lindsay what it says. So I put, and everyone should just know I'm funny. I put a post, fairy jokes, I had to. Okay, so I put a post on my page. Member of the government watch list with the anonymous picture, like for fun. And then someone was like, I don't know. So I put a meme on there. It says, if you won't let us dream, we won't let you sleep. You want to take my dreams, right? You won't let us dream around here. You won't let us manifest. You won't let us create. Then we're going to wake you up and we're not going to let you sleep. And the thing is, everyone wants to sleep. It's like the Matrix movie. It's like the Matrix movie where the guy wants to go back to sleep and have the steak. Swear to God, they don't want to wake up. They have to face themselves. They have to, you know, to take responsibility. Deal with ascension. Deal with themselves on a lot of levels. These people don't want to wake up. That's their worst nightmare. The group of people, because that's all it will take. One group of people awake will wake up the whole planet and shift it into higher levels of consciousness. And we're past a point of no return with all this, like our Stonehenge trip. It's just past a point of no return. Something is happening. We're going to shift focus now with the earth. Things I feel on a daily level. I have concern, I say. Not concerned in a bad way. Concerned people aren't at the right place energetically to be handling the frequencies, and it's making people purge and not feel good. You know, that we could just be handling the energy better. That we have to really learn how to master our energy to be able to furtherly navigate through the ascension energies that are coming to this planet. So I watched the Earth Schumann frequency, like I always tell you. It hit 37 hertz yesterday. So I'm looking at gamma wave, brainwave states. I put an article up, I put it on the Reiki group. I'm looking at gamma brainwave states. There is some debate as to whether those start at 30 or 40 hertz. For the most part, it looks like we're in gamma brainwave states. And what is happening is that we're all vibrating higher and higher, and we're helping take up the frequencies on this planet fast, just being ourselves and authentic and chilling, doing what we do. And so the earth is going through this transformation, and its frequency is starting to go through the roof. People were feeling either ascension flu, agitated, anxiety, a lot of emotions, and that will happen going into those brainwave states. They've done so much research with translucent meditation and things like that with the monks, where they've done so much scientific research to show that, you know, through years of mastery, these monks could reach 40 hertz and above states. If you are to be on 40 hertz, and we're about to be there, if you're on 40 hertz frequencies, it will induce a lucid dream experience in the sleep state. You know, I view this place as exactly the same. So it will bring people to crazy levels of lucidity, being able to create and master your reality, control the dreamscape. And we were at 37 hertz yesterday. It went up 2 hertz from the day before. This storm's about to push us into 40 hertz, probably. And it's mind-blowing, because if you look at the Schumann resonance, which is the Earth's heartbeat, it was at 7.8 something, I think 3. 7.83 hertz. at the beginning, a long time ago, when they first were getting into it and realizing it in like a lot of cultures. So we know that as consciousness evolves and changes, the frequencies are changing, the Earth's and our own. We're very interconnected. You can look at your brain like a receiver, and it's picking up these Earth's frequencies that are changing, and as it is, it's kind of, you know, flooding your neurons, and crazy things are happening to your body. A lot of people are feeling more pain, nervous system restructuring occurring in progress. A lot of people might be feeling like my hand was falling asleep the other day. I'm on my phone, my hand was falling asleep, or tingly, right? You could be feeling nervous system type of things. If you already had a lot of chronic pain, you could be bringing that out. Things like that with the body. It's really rewiring our brain on a lot of levels, and our state of consciousness and our awareness. It is rewiring our senses. We're like little sensory receivers or devices. We pick up vibrations and frequencies and feelings, and you know, we're always seeing this perception from our senses, our sense of reality, and it is really changing our sensory perception fast. Things that excite me. So I think we can all agree humanity fell. They would love to talk about how barbaric these past places were. Cavemen. They show the cavemen with the Egyptian slaves in school. Okay. These were places that were at way high levels of consciousness than us. Egypt was at a 4th dimensional level. Who knows where Atlantis was? High levels of consciousness. People were, you know, operating on the 12 chakra system and things like that. So they were on very high levels of consciousness. They want you to believe that these were people that enslaved humanity and things like that to cover up what's occurring now on so many levels. But these were people that were very divinely tuned in, connected to source, their purpose, their place. They had a good understanding of the afterlife too. And a lot of that Christianity stuff really was distorted and ripped off from there. I mean, you think about it, they teach you you'll die and you can't get into heaven or hell, you get judged first. And the Egyptians would talk about judgment in a different way, with Anubis weighing your heart and seeing if it was lighter than the mat feather, which was about justice and equality in a lot of ways. And you can see where they turn these gods into vengeful gods and fear and things like that, so that if people wouldn't comply, they could say, you're going to hell then. You're not obeying the government. You're going to hell. You will burn. And they could kind of plant these feeds. And it really goes hand in hand, the government and the religions, in so many ways from those times. But you can see how it just all branched from that time in history and just evolved into the Catholic Church. And, you know, then they ripped off the same gods. If you look at Egypt, you can find it within Greece and the Roman Catholic religions too, the Romans. And when I go to the courts here, it's all Roman letters all over the UK, like it's all Roman still. So you can see where the government, the queen, the monarchy, and the Catholic churches, and you know, everything evolved to this place right here. From what we tried to teach with the Law of One. Yeah, we all come from one source. Right? We all come from one source. You don't need all these gods. You don't need to pray to Jesus or Ra or whoever. You can, you know, go meditate and tune in. Right? Be a better person. You'll see better things coming back to you. It was all kind of the basic stuff we were trying to teach now, but it's like when it goes so wrong. So, yeah, I keep saying his name wrong. I'm gonna have to keep going to the post, right? Akhenaten. Wait. I'll just keep the post up. Akhenaten would have been probably the first Jesus that was killed. Right? We see that he was killed by the government, the messenger of the Law One. You know, and then later on we see there are other stories that came out of it. Very similar, right? Jesus was allegedly a messenger of the Law One too, and killed by the cops. So you see a lot of similarity. I said there was a lot of mythical plagiarism that occurred during this cycle, where they just kind of recycled the same ideas and gods back and forth and stole them from each other and created new religions and new enslavement programs. It worked so good watching the Romans do it. Why not create some more religions to enslave people and take their power? All right, what happens when you weigh your heart? If you don't pass the test, and they say you're probably going to face some demons and challenges and tests before that. Weighing your heart will be a last resort. You've probably already been determined by the time you go to the afterlife in their society where you're going. So if they have to weigh your heart, if you fail the test, you get recycled back to Earth. Does this sound familiar? What happens to you? Well, you keep coming back to this planet until you can pass and you can go to their heaven, which would be a field of reeds that Ra, Osiris, that Osiris rules. There were many gods. They would share the underworld. Some of them lived there. Some of them would just go hang out there every night like Ra and fight battles there. And this was not a place you would end up when you died. It was a place you would pass through, right? Like a porthole. You'd either end up back on Earth or progressing forward to go meet Osiris and join him on a lot of levels. They were huge on the body and preserving it. They taught everything that we're teaching now, how to master your energy, how to master your energy, to tune into consciousness and, live godlike. They taught about, mastering the lower self, the lower serpent, and becoming godlike, emerging with your higher self. With lighters. Hi, Francisco. Yes, this energy, I see the kids and the animals, they have a harder time with it. Older people, I'm concerned about their immune systems. Anyone that's real old and sick. They have body bags. I just found out in the UK for their flu season, they say ready. I thought that was concerning. I just found out that this morning. They have a bunch of body bags they invested in here. So I'm concerned because it's more like ascension flu when I see it, not like flu season and viruses. A lot of what's happening with the purging and everything coming to the surface. 300 people were sick in the same day on my Reiki wall. I wish people could see my perspective sometimes because I get a good perspective of the healers and ascension and the light workers. And I was trying to tell my husband that, and I doubt I could get anyone to, see things the way I do, but I try. It's not just you if you're feeling these energy shifts. We're getting ready for a huge storm tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day. But we're going to be in my element. We're shifting into Taurus with astrologically, not as a sign, but astrological components tomorrow, and I'm very excited about that. And this storm will hit. You're not going to feel it if you're not real energy sensitive, hopefully, until the weekend. I said the sheep won't come unraveled until the end of the weekend, come Monday. They all have to go back to work, right? So a lot of people won't even feel it until then because we have a full moon. I think it's Tuesday. I have to look. I think it's Tuesday, though. So we have a full moon that we're approaching, too. And, I said that these energy storms are going to get more and more intense. Sorry, we're running out of time. People aren't listening to the messengers that were sent. Yeah, just ignoring us. Didn't say, like, I saw a meme that says, don't think we didn't try to warn you. Don't think that there weren't people here trying to warn you and everyone just thought we were nuts, right? Okay, so we're running out of time, though, so things are going to get very intense energetically. I just think of it like we're in a washing machine. The planet is on the rinse cycle. I just think of it because when they talk about in ancient places like Egypt, they would describe a mortar and pestle. When they describe Earth School, what it is, they would show a mortar and pestle and us being grinded up on a soul level here. So all the garbage is coming out on a soul level. By the time you do a run in Earth School, you should come out very enlightened and lighter on a soul level, right? Lots of knowledge and learning fast. People are not understanding, and it's just a waste of my time if you've been watching my videos for years and you're not understanding Earth School and what we're all doing here. Because I get that anything negative is happening here. Trust me on that, we get it. Anything positive is too. There's so much magic. And the Egyptians understood magic. The Book of the Dead was a spell book. Yeah, I love that book. I used to roll my weed on it. Definitely getting another one. I'm real into it, but these symbols, you don't have to understand what they're saying. You don't have to be able to interpret them. They're like a light language. When you look at them, they are designed to expand your consciousness and, to do things to your consciousness in a positive way. So I'm real into that. The Egyptians understood that every word was magic. Our energy, our intent, everything that they were doing. They were a very magic-based society. Very into ritual. A lot of the people healing now healed there. Might have been in temples, very spiritual places. We were also regarded with a lot of respect in a lot of ways, the healers, the people that were doing the same spiritual work. With a lot of respect in those times for the spiritual. It was much different. Now they've just destroyed the spiritual so much, saying tarot cards are evil in the Bible, and they've just put all their negative seeds all over this matrix when it comes to the spiritual and their fear gods. I want to throw something about the Bible. Everyone hates me for it, and if you do, you're not in the right place. This is how the matrix works. So everyone hates me when I talk about the Bible. But you know, it's all fear, it's all enslavement. You look at the Middle East, I lived there, it's all just torn up over this one book in so many regards. Like, the whole thing. I'm trying to think what I was just gonna download on that. Lose my spot. No, so we see this kind of what this religion has done to the Matrix in terms of the government, how they operate, the things that they do. And you can really look around and kind of see it for what it is. So, you know, they say the Bible is a historical book. I did a tour of Israel. I went and saw every motherfucking place in the Bible. I didn't see anything Jesus in the whole country. When I asked about it, they told me I wasn't allowed to talk about it in those areas. It's a sectioned area. They have Israel, Jerusalem is like a quarter Muslim, a quarter Hebrew, Jewish, and then Christian gets 2 areas, and it's very like bordered and segregated and separate off. And if I want to go in this area, they need my ID, and you have to go through government checkpoints every 5 feet. So, you know, you can see a lot of what it's done historically. The Crusades, they used God as an excuse to go slaughter and tax everyone and take their shit and take their stuff. Look at the natives. They knew that they would rather die than convert to their God. When they saw the cross, they knew it was bad. The Ankh, as you recall, has a circle over it. If you look at any kind of native crosses, they have circles over the top too. It was said to be a real bad sign to have a cross symbol without the circle on the top. So look what happened. It was like convert. It wasn't just like that everyone became Christian. It was like you will die if you don't convert to this religion. People were put in concentration camps. I'm not talking about the Jews. I'm talking about natives. They were put in these re-simulation schools, and you know, so much of any history that did not align with the Christian agenda got destroyed. Look at China. Like, just wiped out. What is left of Egypt is in that little room in the Queen's area. So, we're gonna go into a space storm. I'm ready for it. I've been resting up a lot more. We're doing some big missions. I'm getting those dates today, Sherry. And I'm going to the rocks in March. I'm going in June, in July, and then in September. So I'm getting ready to do those other 2 trips will be crop circle trips too. So I'm getting the dates. I already have them on my healing wall anyway. So I'm getting the dates and I'm just manifesting. It's what I have to do. We're meant to be manifesting and creating. It's real easy to destroy things around here, but it's a little bit harder to master your manifesting abilities. And as the frequencies are changing on the planet, we have to be more and more careful with our thoughts. You don't have random stray thoughts. Those thoughts are going into my reality. Any negative thoughts that you're just purging out or, you know, watching or viewing, they're going into that continuum and they're going out into the whole of consciousness. They could be coming into my reality, Sherry's, you know, affecting the whole. They're not just going nowhere. And the collective consciousness is a collaboration of all of our thoughts and our frequencies on any given day. Yep, the Aborigines. There's so many lawsuits against these museums. I feel really honored to have seen the Easter Island rock because I believe they have to give it back. They're going to have to give it back. They have a lot of legal dispute over it, so I feel really honored I got to go touch it. Well, before their god, this is what I learned in college anyway, before their god, people worshipped the rocks and the seasons because food, right? They would literally need food and stuff to live. These were basic places. And so they would worship the seasons and the grains, right? And the sun and the moon and the things like that. And then they worshiped stones. There was a lot of stone worship. I think they talk about that in the Bible before their God they invented. Oh, this is what I was going to say about the Bible. That God wants a blood sacrifice. Do you remember when he said, kill your kid, and they're killing goats and sacrificing them and animals? They want a blood sacrifice. I look at that God like the guy who, he keeps coming to our groups, me and Francisco's, and he sacrifices animals and kills them and says that his God, to heal people, that you need blood. And so that when I look at the Bible and all their blood sacrifice they talk about in the Bible, it's just a little concerning to me that people will be worshiping gods like that. And I don't like the word gods because there are many gods in this matrix. So everyone is like God, you know, talking about the guy in the sky, but there's so many gods around here. Okay, who made you yell at your husband? I don't know. You need more weed. Sounds like you need some more weed. Do you need some CBD to relax a little? Purging. We're in purge hell right now. I'm enjoying it because, you know, I feel like this any given day in the UK. We're in purge hell, but you know what? It makes me feel good because the planet's about to get a lot lighter. You can see the whole planet's frequencies going up fast. So yeah, everyone has to individually purge out all their own garbage. And, you know, my husband doesn't understand it. He's sick and he's crying about it. And I said, you know, how many times have you been sick the last 6 months? You may as well get used to it because you're going to be going through these purge cycles to let go of everything that he stored in his soul on a soul level. It's how it works. I went through this stuff too. And so we're purging out any of this garbage. And I said, all you can do to him, he's sick as fuck. All you can do, besides me doing a ton of Reiki on him like normal, is that you can drink a lot of water and take your vitamins. What else can you do? I would just start chugging water. Level 500, anxiety, physical purge type symptoms, can't move, anything like that. Start chugging a ton of water. It will make you feel a lot better fast. This is needed. We're going to need to turn the energy up on this planet because people aren't listening. They're clinging to the illusion. So if we force the frequencies up, then what is going to happen is it's going to change their perception whether they want it or not. It's going to kind of strip away the illusion, right? Higher frequency you're on, less dense, less illusion. So, you know, I mean, I see the purpose. I told you this was our last year to ascend. I'm not sure, but this is something that I was given information that I downloaded, that the target date to be anchored into fifth dimensional frequencies permanently would be 2020. Now, me and Mike have these beautiful debates. I love people that are thinkers, right? We like to question everything. We have these beautiful debates. He says it's impossible to even shift this planet into the fifth dimension without, you know, doing the fourth dimension first. And, you know, those are huge evolutionary jumps. And we're talking about, you know, just putting the planet into the fourth dimension is mind-blowing because I told you that's where Egypt used to reside on a lot of ways. So we're talking about putting this planet into fifth dimensional frequencies. We're talking about a lot of work. Because there's a lot of people that are not wanting to take vitamins and to change and to detox. They just want to keep on doing their same shit stuff. It's okay, they don't need to. All we have to do, like Gabrielle says, is change ourselves. We change the world. Toxic people, don't talk to them anymore. Don't focus on them. Do you ever notice people will disappear out of your reality like they never existed eventually? If you stop talking to them and stop focusing on them, they'll just disappear. Yeah, you have more control over your universe than you've been led to believe. Toxic people, just stop thinking about them. Stop focusing on them. Stop talking to them, block them. They will disappear for good, and something beautiful will move into that place. It's a lot of what we're just learning on so many levels that we don't have to go out and heal the planet. I was thinking that this morning. Everyone's sick and dying. Not my problem. Guess what is my problem? Healing myself. Making sure my energy's good. Making sure that I'm okay over here. I can't be responsible for everything here and everyone. Who knows? I'm going to be better putting my energy into making sure that I'm okay. And that, you know, I'm healing myself. This has never been about, even though we're light workers, us healing the planet. It's about us healing ourselves and liberating ourselves. How are we going to liberate an entire planet if we can't liberate ourselves? So I get it's cute that we're all trying to work on liberating the whole, me too. But it's more about us liberating and freeing our own soul on a lot of levels. Hi, Lynn. We said, Lynn's the only one who's handling the energy. It's perfect anyway, right? We said you need to ask your guides to turn the ascension energies up on your journey. That's what I did. I'm on like maximum hard level. Okay, well, if you're doing really good with the energy, you can always ask if you're dying for your guides to turn down the energy and say it's too much to the universe. Usually when it's too much, though, those are our breaking points and our breakthroughs, because you need to understand this is really about breaking the core of who we are open and becoming, you know, that light on so many levels. So sometimes those breaking points are needed, but if it's too much and you're dying like my husband, he should be asking the universe to turn down the energies. In his case, he can't. He's getting purged out to go into core, and I was telling my friends this morning that it's not a fucking joke. I said it's not a joke. It's not a joke. He's gonna put in a motion to counter prosecute the courts. when he goes too. So it's not a joke. It's kind of a fight when I had to go there, and I see why I'm needed on a lot of levels, you know. So he's getting purged out for his lessons that are coming up. He's going to court again March 10th. I go to the Rocks right after that. So, you know, we're just getting purged out for what we're going to do later on a lot of levels. But, you know, you can tell your guys that, and they will help you with that. If it's going too slow and you want to level up faster, what else is there other than ascension in this matrix? Everything else is an illusion. What else is there in my world? So you can always ask, like I did here. I asked the universe to turn up the pressure a little bit, turn up the energy. I think we're all seeing it now. It's been working good. Yep, ask them to turn the pressure up. We said either that or those 3 people are lying. We were making jokes for days. No ascension symptoms, liars. It could just be you're a little bit achy. My bones feel achy. My bones feel really achy a little bit. Yeah, achy bones. What else did I feel in? Yeah, those are signs that your DNA is being broken down. The symptoms that we're seeing shows that our DNA is not only being, you know, activated, but it's being broken down in a lot of ways and restructured. So a lot of those ascension symptoms have to do with DNA type symptoms too, so they're good signs. I know everyone thinks we're dying and sick like Francisco and me last night, but it's okay. Those are good things. That means all the garbage is getting pulled out of your body and your soul. Think about it like a car with a lot of garbage and gunk in your oil, right? So we see all this garbage and gunk kind of coming out on a soul level. Achy. Yeah, achy. I don't want to move. I don't want to get off of here to go do a video, so I might just sit here. I brought lots of weed. I might just say, screw my feed. I'm like in the mystery school group areas better. I don't have the weird people writing outrageous weird stuff all over my videos. It tends to just kind of kill my focus. Then I'm very sensitive to the people around me, and people start to get upset. And it's not the trolls I feel, it's my people I know around me that I'm connected to getting upset, and like, I just can't deal sometimes. So I've been kind of chilling. I've been spending more time alone. That's when I download. How do you think I bring such wonderful information, hopefully, to feeds, right? I need time to download. I need a lot of alone time, if you know me. Because, you know, I am very connected to the universe, and downloading is my ability. That I can just sit around, and if I have questions, I can ask the universe and download information on random stuff. It's what I like to do. So I need a lot of alone time. I've been working on this house so much. You guys can tell, right? More meditation space. If you have an area you're not using, like a garage, an attic, basement full of shit, top picks for meditation areas. Offices. Offices are so 3D in your house, okay? So, you know, try to make a meditation area. Areas you're not using. We weren't using this room because his kid isn't living here yet, right now, and this is his kid's room. So this was an empty space that I transformed and made kind of dope. So, you know, if there's empty space in your house, whether it's a garage, a shed in your yard, Nicola wants a shed. If it's a shed in your yard, an area, just start to try to transform your space a little bit. I haven't been able to deal with, I see my email, people are hating my email, I can't deal with it. I am going to go work on my site later, but I just can't even deal with people with this energy right now. I see a lot of people not feeling good, and, you know, I don't even know. So I've been a little bit off grid, hence me in this area. You guys have any questions? Ask me some random questions. I'll give you some answers if you want on anything. How are you guys feeling? What are you doing? What do you want to learn more about? What do you want downloads on? How's your ascension going? Are you guys feeling the energy yet? We should be becoming more and more energy sensitive. That's always been my ability. I can feel the storms like a week before they come here. So that's always been my ability. I don't know if it's because of all the titanium in my body. I don't know. But I will tell you that since I had a bunch of titanium put in, that I can feel the rain and the weather too, that if it's gonna rain, it will make me achy and I'll start to feel it. I can feel the storms before they come. I think that might have a little bit to do with it, but I'm becoming very energy sensitive as I go about this journey, so I'm feeling the energy more and more probably. Oh yeah, I said I wish I had a pyramid in my room when I was a kid. I know, right? I wish I had a pyramid in my room when I was a kid, right? Things I would have loved. I had tents in the yard, though. We would just go set up tents in the yard and go camp out there. It reminds me of the pyramid a lot. I was one of those kids that was like in a tent a lot in the yard. Let's see, reoccurring dreams. I had crazy dreams too. I actually dreamed and kind of remote viewed a little bit of what was going to happen with my husband's court last night, and then I was looking at Egyptian stuff in the dream realm. It was pretty dope. I actually saw Lisa there, Lisa White. If I run into her, she's on a different time zone. I saw her in the astral last night. I was kind of all over the place. We're falling in and out of the dream state right now with the way the frequencies are spiking and going up to that gamma state, back down to the beta. I don't know, we're basically in between a state of lucidity. We are, we're in this state that the Egyptians would talk about a lot. I always forget the name. It's a state in between consciousness. I'll get there in a sec. But we're in between being, asleep and awake right now on a lot of levels. I know we thought we woke up and this is it. I thought that too, right? Till I started to have all these awakenings within awakenings. Okay, so we're really, coming to lucidity. Those pillars are everywhere. We see them in the Masonic traditions, which, like I said, they hijacked the same stuff. And we see the pillar masons everywhere. We see Egyptian pillars. We see them in many societies. That was a symbolism for in between the pillar space was a state of consciousness. It's like the time in the morning when you first come back from the astral and you're half asleep but you're not quite awake. That would be like the state of consciousness that they were talking about. And like I said, everything from Egypt came from Atlantis. So many levels. The knowledge that they had in a lot of ways. And same with the Masons. Like I said, they stole and plundered a lot of that information during the Crusades and whatever, and they took a lot of it. And so they hold a lot of Atlantean information too, but they're not using it for good. They're not trying to use it for good, clearly. They want everyone asleep. I was around someone that was very high up in the Masons. Some of you guys might remember. Very high up in the Masons, and they wanted me to shut my mouth and, not tell people this stuff, and had a million reasons as to why I shouldn't. And they have all these excuses like you don't want the dark to get their hands on this knowledge. But, there's no way around it. They're just trying to hide this knowledge and keep us enslaved and asleep so that they can enjoy the elite high life with their hella cash, us all working, and them at the top of the pyramid, kind of. We see a lot of Egyptian symbolism around now. Look at the dollar bill, the eye. We saw them talking about the eye at the Super Bowl and how evil it was, and pyramids and how evil they are too. So they love to put it in their like Illuminati celebrity stuff. A lot of the same symbolism to scare people into thinking the third eye is bad, it is evil, it is satanic in a lot of ways. But if you look around now, you see a lot of this symbolism in Europe. The Romans stole a lot of Egyptian symbolism and used it a lot too with their symbols. The Egyptians were very tuned into sexual energy, the cycles of the energy, the astrology and astronomy. Damn, I'm looking at a lot of Machu Picchu stuff. And they had such a good understanding of astronomy and astrology. They had a better understanding of DNA just on their hieroglyphics in Egypt than we do now alone, you can tell. And they allegedly were cavemen and didn't have microscopes and high-tech stuff. But when I look at these places, they were very high-tech. Yeah, pyramid energy conductors. They were very aware of free energy, source energy, ley lines, the things you could use with it. I really look at a lot of these sacred site areas as interdimensional landing zones. Like you can tell by Stonehenge that the way it's in these fields in Machu Picchu that it could have been a landing zone for crafts, UFO crafts. These were times, like I said, when the gods walked among humans, and so did extraterrestrials to try to teach. Do you think you'll go to Egypt? I went there. No, not again. I went there. I lived in the Middle East, so I lived in Israel, which is right above it. And I did go voyage there. I went to so many places, too, that Israel was so beautiful to me at the time because, I had just been in a really bad car accident. I had lost my mom real traumatically. I had a lot of healing work, right? So for me, it was very healing to go away and run away and be on my own. For me to go across the planet and be on my own is pretty empowering. So I spent a lot of time there when I was about 22, and, I wasn't awake, but it didn't matter. I've always been tuned into energy, and I remember I used to keep these journals when I was there, and I spent so much time alone. Yeah, my family across the ocean, across the pond, was asleep. The time zone's real bad there, if you think it's bad in the UK. So, it would be like 2 in the morning when I would be up there, and my family, I wouldn't be able to call them a lot, so I was really alone there. I think it was probably the first time in my life I was ever really alone. Right? So I just did a lot of journaling hanging out, smoking hashish, smoking hashish, going and doing stuff. I saw all these, every kind of biblical site there was that they have. I was very into biblical history at one point. And so the Bible, real into Bible prophecy, everything like that, if you know me. So I went and explored these places, you know, blah, 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 and I checked it all out. It didn't matter that I was so asleep, and that was the first time I tried to come off pharmaceuticals. Or I actually rapid detox there. It's the desert. It's like so hot there. Like that it'll rapid detox you being in that energy by those ley lines, kind of like Stonehenge will do to people. I say if you're sick and you go to Stonehenge, it will make you sicker probably. You know, if you're at a good frequency, it's really going to amplify that on a lot of levels. So it was very spiritual for me to go there. I was, you know, like on this quest for God, as I told you. And I described like some of the energy in some of these places I went to as so crazy. Like I just described it as being very asleep, as close to God as you could get, being in this spiritual energy. We know that there's a Stargate in Jerusalem. These might be Stargate portholes, right? They fight over the Holy Land. That has some of the craziest energy, crazier than Egypt and Israel. So, you know, I was always out kind of exploring the world and trying to get out there. So I was really asleep when I went there. I'm not going to go back there. I have ambitions to go to Tibet and Machu Picchu really bad. Probably Australia after I do those things. So I have a bucket list I'm kind of doing. It wasn't my intent to go travel the world. It was my intent when I lived in the US that I wanted to go meet the people that I was connecting with off of Facebook. Like I wanted to go around the US and meet some people, right, hang out and things like that. So I really started to do that. It wasn't until I was in California that I was made aware that I'm probably going to go around the whole planet for my mission. And for me that was kind of scary. It's a little bit scary, right? My grandmother actually traveled the planet. And I remember, you know, her going to some like third world country places. Right? A little bit scary. I have concerns about Wi-Fi in some of these places and stuff like that. So I'm for sure getting ready to voyage. I've always just been finding myself in these places. It's how I'm very tuned into myself that I know other people, right? If you know yourself, you kind of know the universe. So I've been on a journey just kind of finding myself, going through the matrix, and I can learn a lot faster going to other cultures and learning different perspectives. I learned so much living in the Middle East in such a time of conflict over the Bible, where, yeah, Muslims and Jews killing each other, extreme military police, crazy shit. So it just gave me such a perspective on the division that has been created over that book on so many levels. Yeah, even asleep, I've been drawn to a lot of very spiritual places. I was always very spiritual, even asleep. Like I said, I was like studying theology in college and going off on these tangents, and I was very, very into it. But I grew up with a very biblical type of perspective of the universe and God and how things work here, like probably everyone else. And I see a lot of those seeds still carrying on, because some people have spiritual awakenings. I make jokes about it, but I really see it where they're channeling, you know, 80% truth with 20% fear agenda about Jesus. Like, oh, just in case, I think we'll talk about Jesus in a good way in case, right? And I see that a lot with the channeling around us. A lot of people talk about Mary Magdalene, Jesus, channeling him and stuff like that. These are concepts I'm not into. I don't believe in them in my reality. This is just my perspective, my reality. You're welcome to have your own universe where anything you want can become real and whatever it is, but this is just my perspective on things. The Bible looks like love and light, just like there's statues at the palace, but I'm not feeling love and light after all the people that got slaughtered and killed for not conforming to it and everything that, all the people that died over that book. You know, it looks love and light, the words. And it, like I said, the 10 Commandments were ripped off on the wall of a post. They were ripped off from the Book of the Dead. Everything about it was stolen from Egypt. And again, the Romans rewrote everything into their Bible after they, you know, conquered Egypt. They rewrote these religions and their own Roman religions that we see still alive today. And you can look at the Greeks, you know, the same thing. The Romans copied the Greeks and then wiped them out on a lot of levels. I'm just sharing some good energy. Yep, Australia's on my bucket list. Good. Larissa's there too. I'm going to start stalking her. Lisa, I saw you in the dream world, but I don't remember. And it was really weird because you had a different last name there too. I'm not sure if you like ever had a last name, different last name this life. I'm not sure if you ever had a different last name. It was just real weird. I was all over the place last night. So, These frequencies are doing good things for our intuitive states, our psychic abilities. Our DNA doesn't feel like it. I described it before this happened a week ago, and if you listen to me, I'm always talking like a week ahead. Last week I said this is where, in the superhero movies, like Spider-Man gets bit by a spider. What happens? I'm dying! I'm dying! Emerges a superhero. And I was trying to find some good cartoons for Francisco because he's sick last night, but I couldn't. I did tell him he might be turning into a werewolf. My husband's been burning up. He thinks he's dying. He might be turning into a werewolf. I'm not sure. I'm not like an expert, right? No, but it's like the superhero. What happened? They get radiation spilled on them. And their DNA, when it's mutating, they're in pain and they're dying. And oh my God, but they emerge superheroes on some level. So I said that like a week ago. That's how I could describe this energy on a lot of levels. More self-care. We're learning we need to flow with the universe. If you're not flowing with the universe, it'll be harder for you to manifest and to create. Sometimes we need those energetic components to help us manifest. So I like to rest and move with the storms. I'm in rest mode till tomorrow, and then I'll start doing my activations I'm doing, and I'll come back and then hit the storm and make sure I'm really rested for Monday and Tuesday. So, you know, make some more time for rest care, because then you can manifest a lot better. Flow with the energy. If you move around, you'll feel a lot better. Move around, go for a walk, get outside, get some fresh air. I had to open all the doors and windows here. Sage real good. Snakes. I need to talk about that next. I'm sitting here like kind of downloading and just getting a feel for this group again and where I'm going to go with it. And, you know, Kundalini energy was powerful. We see serpents everywhere, not just in Egypt, in a lot of places, right? The serpent symbolism. They were always talking about energy with the Ankh, with, you know, the snakes and things like that. I don't know, the Bible is like our obstacle here. I think that everyone that's just following it just comes back on a soul trap. It's their soul trap, but it just needs so much control over it, where they use that fear that you're going to go to hell to control people. And when you're always in guilt and focusing on everything you did wrong in life, you know, things that lower your frequency. But it's always been about money, the churches especially. They saw that these priests and priestesses were getting donations in exchange for their healing and services, and they thought they could make a better business of it, the Romans, with these churches, and it's always been about money. Look at the Pope. You want to talk about hella cash? I would love to see the Queen's financials and the Pope's, because I bet the Pope has a hell of a lot more cash than her. It was always just a business for them when they took over with these systems and where they've evolved to on a lot of levels too. We see that today. The fucking Pope, he could save the planet. He could be Batman. He could be Batman in real life. There's people freezing all over that city he lives in. You think they're helping the homeless or doing anything good? No, they're like, come bring your cash and see you Sunday. Yeah, bloody and gory. But anyways, I'm always concerned about gods that want a blood sacrifice, and people are following these gods of the Bible without any question. They clearly want a blood sacrifice. There's a big portion of the Bible where they talk about sacrificing animals. Possibly people. People too. It's okay to kill in God's name, they've taught people. That you can go ahead and kill people. It's in God's name, the Crusades, right? You're a pagan. Pagan, the word pagan, anyone not conforming. Pagan means anyone not conforming to Christianity. Yeah, put some more posts on this wall. I don't care if it's memes. We're going to go with an Atlantis, Egyptian theme around here. I don't care. We can talk about Lemuria too. Sacred sites, earth chakras, ley lines, things like that. More posts. Make it a good energy exchange here. I like to put a lot of energy out. And I need people like the other generators to vibe with me. I'm a generator. It's hard for me to live with a projector because I need another generator, because I can make a lot of energy if I'm just bouncing around the right energy. And so we can really create a lot of really healing energy in these places. The things that were being taught in these mystery schools were how to master your mind, body, and soul to transcend the physical dimension, the third dimension, and to have supernatural type abilities, you know, being psychic, having your third eye open, things like, you know, teleporting, I wish, teleporting, you know, levitation, things like that on a lot of levels. They were teaching people how to heal people, how to heal with source energy. It's a lot of everything that we're trying to bring back to this planet right now. I'm done with the killing the animals. I'm done with blood sacrifices. This guy is level crazy. He just hit up Francisco's group too, and he was like, I will go to the market and buy a pig. But he put up like hacked chickens and goats on the wall and says his God needs blood to heal people. And it's so similar. It just reminds me of the same God. And I'm like, holy shit, okay, maybe they did rip off Christianity from Africa. I don't know. There was a lot of sacrifice to the gods back in these days. People too, look at the Mayans. I'm reading this. Fear and division. Ireland is a huge Roman Catholic empire. I always think of Irish as Catholic. It has a lot of Roman influence there too. A lot of Europe does on so many levels too. Yep, programming we need to get past. Programming, any of those Christianity type religions teach you that God is outside of yourself. The guy in the cloud, right? He's outside of yourself. They try to teach you that Jesus was powerful and special, but you're not. He has these abilities. He's like a superhuman, but it's not possible for humans. He was the Son of God. And a lot of this stuff in Egypt, they were teaching that these deities, you could be like them actually. You're no different. There's no separation. And that you could purify your mind, body, and soul and become like that on a lot of levels. So they really distorted a lot of the teachings. So, you know, it keeps people looking for God in books and churches. Yeah, they think that they need to go to the priest, right, again, and things like that. Not that God is within us. And they're worshiping their messenger. Yeah. It's what happens when you worship the messenger, Jesus, right? He would have been a messenger, probably the law one. And so it's what happens when you build a whole religion, worshiping the messenger and ignoring the message. It would be like if someone made a religion about me and wasn't doing what I'm saying, right? But they were worshiping me. On a lot of ways, it's like that, you know? There's a lot of separation. They like to blame the killing of Jesus on different sects of people and blah, blah, blah to fit their agendas. And things like that. So if you go to a Catholic church, you're probably going to hear something much different than the other kind of religious churches with what happened historically. But this is where this stuff evolved out of Egypt, and here we are now. And I make a joke about it, like, oh, and then we just probably did a whole cycle reincarnating into this hellhole, this religious hellhole, government hellhole. And we got a good perspective of it. Hi, Jessica. Yeah. Jesus went to Tibet like I'm gonna go to. If he was real. I still don't believe it. But if he was, they would say that he would have gone and studied in Tibet and just learned enlightenment and come back and tried to teach it. He was teaching Ascension 101 and doing a better job than we are. His disciples were his group that he was choosing to ascend with, just like I have a group of people that I want to get out of here with. Same kind of shit going on. Worshiping the prophet. Oh yeah. Huge. Huge. We're just channels. This is just coming from the universe. You know, I purify my body and the universe can speak through me. I can download information, put it on video, talk about my experiences, whatever. So it's really like everything our worst nightmare. We come to this planet to teach. Everyone ignores the message and builds entire religions on these gods. And it's just like, here we are. We're gonna try this again. So we're getting a do-over. The universe has a lot of blocks with me on these past places too. I like to try to go snoop around. Go snoop around in the Akashic, download in certain areas, and there's a lot of blocks. And from my understanding of what the universe gave me for information is it had enough of these places. It had enough of these experiences, for real. It wants to do something different. It had enough of it. It had enough of people using their abilities to enslave and power, control people, and just keep them asleep. The universe wants us to heal and to love each other. Wants us to be loving each other and experiencing each other. We always need another person to do that. So, you know, on so many levels, the universe had enough of these places. You can clearly tell. Pole shift, Atlantis. Okay, so here we are now. And we should have learned after this cycle one thing, and that is to use our abilities in service, not service the self ways. We thought it was a good idea. My consciousness group has so much to do with that. Yeah, yours. And we thought it was a good idea to keep everyone asleep. I can see it now. Some people are such assholes to me. assholes to me. Why do I want to wake up this person, right? But we need to understand, like I said in my last video, that every person that wakes up, a 3D timeline crumbles, and we need everyone awake and conscious and doing better with their lives and their reality. So we should have learned that. But, you know, in past times, we were like, why? Why should we have to wake up these people? So this time around, I'm trying to wake up the politicians in the UK. Yup, I'm sending them Reiki, sending them entity clearing kind of energy. Who knows what kind of soul contracts they have, and cords, and who they're taking their orders from. But I like to send them healing energy too, and hope that everyone just wakes up and we could create some kind of utopia here on earth with everyone spiritual and awake and connected to source and aligned with divine will and what's best for everyone. Hi, Sherry. Oh, I gotta put an ad in here. If you guys haven't, make sure you like our Agent P Facebook page for sure too, because we're gonna be putting some badass music out there. You know, we're making music in this house, and he was already working on a really good song. And so, you know, it's really good to have someone who downloads here too, because he was having a hard time with the words, and I have no shortage of downloading words around here. So for sure, if you haven't, like our Agent P page, because we're gonna have some kind of watch party again. In perfect divine timing with our mission, with our healing missions going on, so we can laugh and have fun. And there'll probably be some kind of political statement songs. We've been liking to make the political statements to try to use music to wake people up to the state of the world. You know, so we're trying to use that music to do my usual and coat it with good energy to wake people up. So for sure, like our Agent P business page, I'm going to start working on it more for sure. I put a meme on it. So, I think Francisco did an ad for it in his last watch party. We're going to do some more ads. For sure, go like that page. There's a lot of pages and groups around here, and I can't, on my device, see what groups are linked to these groups to see if they're, you know, the right areas we're in. But for sure, make sure you're in our other groups, too, like my 2 Sparks of Divine Light Healing groups. Our Galactic Empath Healer group that's about to hit 50K. I'm very proud of that. I put a lot of hours in building some of these areas, a lot of time into it, and using my energy to get the right people in them. So I'm really glad. Make sure that you guys are in the Galactic Empath Healer group. If you guys aren't in our other class, we're doing the Awakening to Ascension class. I'm going to be live in that space tomorrow, and I'm going to be in it a lot because I'm going to be doing blue star activations in it on Monday and cord cutting and stuff like that. So for sure, make sure you're in our other areas if you're not, because I've been doing my videos all over the place. I think I'm going to start to use the Galactic group more to go live in too. So some people are like, I don't know where you're going live, right? So make sure that you're in our other areas too. There should be like a group section at the top of the page that should have our other groups. We need Gail to go look at the group list to make sure that we don't have any of those groups we don't like anymore on the list, that we quit admitting. We need Gail bad. Okay, I'm reading this. Gary, amazing to connect with you. Rosemary too. I'm just chilling. I got some good energy going on here. I'm just relaxed, chilling, zenned out. If I figure I'd get on feed and say hi though, or people tend to miss me sometimes, so I'm reading the comments. Drink the blood and eat the body. Yep. No question. Go ahead and stick this needle in your newborn child's arm that is full of toxic viruses and diseases. I said everyone has such a fear, and everyone pictures these past places, and Egypt was beautiful, Lemuria was beautiful, Atlantis was beautiful, but I'm telling you, some of these places in between there and now, in between Egypt and now, they were not beautiful. They were places of disease, separation, fear, control, monarchies, British government killing people and slaughtering everyone, and, you know, real control dramas. So, you know, when you're in the 3rd dimension, which this planet has been the whole cycle, it is about getting sick, diseases, sickness, separation, death, grief, loss. So it wasn't really pretty, this whole cycle, getting here where we could be at a high enough level of consciousness to understand this stuff again and try to learn again. It took a long time for humanity to get here after that fall. The fall, I say, the Roman government brought on. It's the fall of humanity. Let's talk about the fall. It would have been, you know, religions coming and enslaving everyone. So that really was the fall. It goes hand in hand in a lot of ways. But yeah, eat the blood. Last time I was in a Catholic church, maybe a few years ago, don't ask, someone I knew having a kid getting baptized, it was so frightening to me. First off, they have the Pope all over the wall, and they have this funny rap song called the Pope rap, and they're making fun of them for all the bling. and all the bring your money to church, and you know, they'll say, oh, your grandma's going to hell if you don't pay me. Your grandmother's gonna burn in hell if you don't come pray some more and pay us. And they have this really funny song, and it was like that. They have pictures of the Pope all over the wall with his bling everywhere and his gold everywhere. And then they have the gold shit everywhere. And they're like grooming kids. Like, if you're lucky, you'll be a choir girl when you're older. And like, yeah, it's just so concerning to me. And they talk about all fear, guilt, negative shit, darkness, hell. Like all these seeds that they plant. And it's just kind of mind-blowing to me. Yeah, they do their occult ritual, but you know, when I saw that kid getting baptized, I saw some very real soul contracts going on there, where they were having the parents repeat back after them that yes, they consent for them to baptize their child, blah, blah, blah. And I heard that you get a sigil stamp. That, yeah, if you go get baptized by them or whatever, you could get a sigil stamp like they own you. Yeah. So people are being sorted according to gods here. Some people have Allah for a god. Some people might have whoever the Christian one is. I forget his name, they call him. Okay, so they have different gods going on. So if you were, you know, born into a Muslim culture, you might have a sigil or a stamp from the Muslim god. I used to make jokes and say that I had a stamp from the Hebrew god when I first got on this planet. I found favor with the Hebrew gods. I would make a joke about it, right? But I mean, it's not too far from the truth. So there's lots of gods in this matrix. It's okay. You know that we can just wake up and just choose what we do now. We all did. We were born into slavery. Yep. Our parents' slavery. Their mental programming. We're born into slavery just from being indoctrinated. It's okay though. We have a lot of conscious awareness. We're understanding things. It's okay. It doesn't matter what your path entailed. What kind of weird contracts, stuff you got dragged into. It's okay. Things we let go of when we woke up. I look at when you wake up as a karmic reset. I think a lot of people won't wake up when they have a lot of karma too. I think karma is the illusion that we created ourselves by feeling bad about our actions a lot of the time, that we have this built-in consciousness. So if you kill someone, you're going to know it's wrong and bad on a lot of levels. So a lot of times karma is the illusion. It is what is blocking their sight, their third eye, right? People are dealing with a lot of their own karmic situations in a lot of ways. So I feel like you have to be done with your karma to wake up. And don't worry, everyone should have planned this out perfect. Coming here, right? But I feel like you get a karmic reset too, that if you had bad karma and you woke up, that it would immediately be gone on so many levels. That whole timeline falls in on so many levels. Hi Brittany, hi Dale. Write a letter, demand any contact with your child, destroy the leave on the aisle. Listen, I've been doing some crazy shit here. Yeah, I got abilities I'm trying to use to assist. I did say when I go into the courts that I can scramble their channels with my abilities. So they're downloading too, clearly, the judges and the people at the court. They're doing some downloading as to how to react with them. I can scramble their channel in a lot of ways. I have some telepathic abilities that I'm for sure using on any judges and jury in these places coming into there too, and it's not going unnoticed, I'll just say that. And this shit is gonna blow up and backfire in their faces. It's only a matter of time. People can think they can do what they want here, but the universe is always watching us. You ever see the eye of consciousness? Hubble telescope. Eye of consciousness, it's always watching us. Not just within, but all around us. So I know people can think they can do dirt and not, the universe won't know, and they can do shady stuff. But don't worry, the universe is always watching and has seen everything going on here. So I'm sure that it'll just blow up and backfire ultimately. I'm doing my job, which is making sure that my husband is purged out and on point when he walks in there energetically though. So that he can walk in there with very powerful energy. I think it puts things on a new level too, having me go in there by his side, go into these courts and these situations. It definitely makes him more powerful in a lot of regards too, I'm noticing. Having that energy component as a projector, and he is a projector, so we make fun of it. We say that like we like when certain people collide with him, because if you have real shit energy and you're around a projector, you'll just get it amplified and sent back to you. Like on extreme levels though. They're not like a generator or other types like a lot of the people in these groups are. They have a different energy type. So I have to stay very high vibe around him. You don't want to argue with a projector. It's never good. You'll just get whatever's within you, and that garbage projected right at you on so many levels. So I see why the universe would send a projector into these courts to do it, because I've watched a few of these experiences, and I've seen on crazy levels where the judge just gets their own bullshit thrown right back on them on so many levels. I wasn't baptized, but I took Jesus into my heart like 10 times, but I didn't feel like any different from it or any kind of like, when I was a little kid, I was so young, I was probably like 6, right? And they're teaching me how to do this, and I was expecting some big bang UFO event, right? I'm expecting some kind of spiritual experience, and they're like, okay, you gotta take Jesus into your heart, and I did it like 10 times, and I didn't think it was working. But, you know, I was expecting some kind of spiritual experience, you know, whatever. It didn't really do much for me, I'll just put it that way. They teach you to pray to Jesus, pray to God, pray to Jesus. They teach you to pray to everyone outside of yourself, right? I wonder where those prayers are going that go to Jesus. On so many levels I joke about it, but I really do wonder who's answering those prayers and, you know, what telephone line they're going to. The entire Christian religion was based off of Ra, the sun god, anyway. They're worshiping the sun. The sun, Jesus. It's the same kind of stuff anyway. Quit smoking or got saved by Jesus. See, I'm waiting for him to come save the planet. How many more people had to ask? I just picture him coming in the UFO. Coming in the UFO. We could have this happen. He could come in a UFO and be like, it's cool, I'm here. We can do this, and we can do this ascension. But I just said the other day that I think there's more of a shot of the government doing a false flag alien attack on America. I think there's more of a shot of a false flag alien invasion. They've been kind of setting the stage for a long time. If you look at all the alien movies, they're all about aliens coming to kill us and invading us, and they've been planting a lot of fear with extraterrestrial type of stuff for a long time. Not sure where they're going with that. It looks like a false flag alien invasion ultimately, if they needed. People won't listen to the churches and governments. Alright, we'll bring out the fear of reptilians and aliens. What does Alex Jones talk about? David Icke, reptilians, right? Oh my god, reptilians, they want to wake you up to the fact the world is a scary place. And those kind of concepts are very 4D. Yeah, the astral, negative entities, darkness, stuff like that. So to me, they pay people big bucks to be on, you know, news channels and stuff like that, trying to wake people up, but to a specific perception. One of a lot of fear about extraterrestrials still, they say reptilians are extraterrestrials and negative ones that have enslaved us, you know, to again make you feel powerless. You just woke up and realized the government's a joke. And then people will be, oh my god, they're reptilian aliens. We can't do anything against that. We're just people. They have entire shapeshifters enslaving humanity. So it's another kind of ploy for control. I'm all for a false flag invasion. I'm for the zombie apocalypse too. I'm all for anything the universe wants to do. I'm open to it. I'm just going with the flow around here. Who knows? I think a lot of people think they know what's happening, but, you know, looking at the Schumann resonance, where we're headed, I think we can scientifically kind of map out where we're headed energetically, though. So I can't give you a lot of information as to our final destination. Who cares? Enjoy the ride. Who cares? You ever go on vacation and, you know, sometimes it was more exciting getting there and getting ready for it and going to do it, right? And then you do the vacation, it may not be so great like London. Right? So, who cares? Enjoy the ride. I don't think anyone knows. I think that's part of the universe. It likes to be secret and secretive and mysterious and to keep us surprised and new twists in our story and things we're not expecting and whatever. Hi.
Okay.
No, I don't feel like breakfast.
It's not so right.
I've been complaining about pancakes in the UK. I don't think they really are into pancakes like America. You know, in America, breakfast food, you think of pancakes. They're too European. They have these flat pancakes. They're like crepes. They're like crepes. No wonder they don't like pancakes here. In America, you have the fluffy kind of biscuit kind of pancakes, right? They're into the French crepes, I noticed. So I was like, don't you guys eat pancakes here ever? I haven't seen one the whole time I've been here, except for the Moroccan place. Don't you guys eat pancakes? I got pancakes manifested. They're spiritually significant in Montana. Yeah, get outside in your backyard. It's real spiritually significant. It really is. Anywhere that you're living as a light worker, you gotta know you have some crazy energy right near you to access. Montana is gorgeous. You have so much nature there, mountains there. When I was a little kid, my friend's dad ran away and left his family and moved there. And she went there like twice, but it looked really nice. They have so much, you know, a lot of people want to move there to go off grid, get out of society. But there's a lot of beautiful magic and places in nature. Just get outside, breathe in the air. That's magic. That's the universe, you know, that you're taking into your lungs on every level. We need to connect with the earth more. You guys should be feeling a pull to get away from TV and technology and to get outside more, to meditate, to spend time alone, to be self-caring, things like that. UK food is so different. I knew that before I came here. The universe has to have me really ready for like every little thing because I hate change. And I've been doing a lot of change lately. So the universe likes to have me ready and break me in slow. Things I already knew. You know, it's a completely different culture. They have crumpets here and tea. I can do tea all day long. Hi, Terry. I'm going to get off of here and find some cards, and I'm going to make myself do a real video. I don't really feel like it, but it helps bring the frequencies up. It makes us feel better. So I'm going to get off of here and be back live on my real channel in like 1 minute.